Hi, my name is Sophie Summers, and as always a very warm welcome to the Crossdressing Lifestyle channel. Today's video is all about a product review for something that I think will be of interest to everybody, not only because it's a very good product, but it's also commercially very attractive. Another way of saying it's cheap but very effective. Now, if you have been following the channel, you may have noticed one or two things recently, particularly this video here. Now, thank you for those that commented on it, by the way, but part of the reason for doing that particular video was, as you can see, I've really overemphasized the waist and hip ratio there. It's got a very curvaceous figure. Now, whilst that may be quite desirable, achieving it can be a little bit painful and also a little bit expensive on the same time. Now, why do I say that? Well, I personally get that particular shape by combining two products together, and they are a traditional waist training corset, which is really very strong, and you can really pull it in and reduce your natural waist. And I put that over a product from a company called Ronier, which is a half body sort of hip and bottom silicone piece, I suppose is one way of putting it. It is very effective. It has quite a lot of padding around the hips and around the derriere. It looks like a pair of cycle shorts. It does blend in quite well. The downside of that combination is that when you wear that particular silicone body wear, it gets extremely hot, and I mean very hot, and quite uncomfortable after a while. And let's be honest, it's not always practical. It's quite nice to get an eye-catching figure, yes, but it's not the sort of thing you would see me wearing, how would I say, to go doing my shopping in Marks and Spencer's on a Sunday afternoon. No. Generally, when it comes to shapewear, because I believe in balancing the figure out, because I'm always looking to achieve, where possible, that very desirable sort of, I call it a figure eight or an hourglass figure. I think it's the ideal feminine shape. Now, I have wider shoulders, sorry, than I have hips, and that's why I pad out. Now, some people do concentrate on just, how would I say, the targeted area of your waist by wearing a corset. For me, it doesn't quite work, and I find it uncomfortable. So my normal go-to, and you may have seen me reviewing them quite a few times on this channel, is these particular silicone hips here. They're very battered and old, these particular ones, I must admit, which indicates, as always, I wear them a lot. And the difficulty with these is that after a while the edges sort of get a little bit tattered because they're so thin. But what I do love about them is the fact that when they warm up on your body, they're almost, you don't feel as though you're wearing them in any way, shape or form. They're very soft to the touch, almost realistic. They've got quite a depth on the hips here, so you can get quite a nice hip to waist ratio. And I say these are my standard go-to piece of shapewear that I just insert inside my tights. Now, whilst they are, in my opinion, extremely good, one thing that does, I suppose, hold a lot of people back from getting them is their sheer price. They are not a cheap item because it is a silicone-based product, and they can be very expensive. So I'm always on the lookout for products that do the same sort of job but at a more commercially advantageous or cheaper. Now, I come across a product fairly recently while doing a bit of research on the internet, which I thought, okay, I kind of like the principle behind it, but I'm not that convinced because it was super cheap in my sort of humble opinion. And super cheap means around about £20. So after a bit of, I suppose, consideration and soul searching, I thought, well, why not invest in it and give it a go and see if it does what it says on the package. So after a couple of days of waiting, this is what turned up. And to be honest, I have been super impressed with it. I've worn it a few times. I wore it in this particular video here, as you can see, and it was the one where I said I'd give you a bit of a heads up on. It's very simple, but it's incredibly effective. Now, what it has is, it's like a cycle shorts, so it's got quite long legs, probably better off by showing you a little bit of a picture on screen, and let's throw it up here, shall we, as I'm talking away. That's better. Now, what you can see in these is there are pockets, and inside the pockets are these particular pieces of medium density foam that's sort of like a kidney shape, pre-shaped ones. You can take these out obviously when you want to wash the garment, but what I'd like to point out is they are quite thick and they are quite a reasonable quality foam, so they're not all soft and squidgy. They've got obviously some give in them, but they also bounce back into their predefined shape, which is really good. Now, if you find these particular ones are not quite enough for you, the good thing is you can always create your own by getting some medium to heavier density foam, slightly thicker, putting this on the top, tracing it out, and how would I say, shaping it accordingly. But this for me is very, very effective for every day. Now, they're light, which is fantastic as well, because in the summer, the least amount you've got on underneath the better, because you are sweating a lot less, believe me. But the intriguing thing I found, which was simple yet very, very effective, is this band that goes around it. Now, I don't know if you can see it on camera very well, but it's got a whole row of these hook and eyes here. Now, this is targeted around the soft area of your tummy, and you can hook and eye it up at whatever length you want to really pull those extra bits in the side. So what you've got is you've got the additional volume on your hips, and you've got this particular little bit of elastic or belt here pulling in your softer proportion of your waist, giving you that nice little curve there. Now, I was very, very impressed with this, if I'm honest. I like it because it is so lightweight fabric, it's quite stretchy. And why I wanted to point that out is if I go off the standard size charts, and by the way, product descriptions and links are down below in this video description should you wish to have a look at it for yourself. On the size chart, I was coming up at a typical size UK 12 to 14 because I am actually UK 12 bottom. So I thought, well, let's get that particular size. Now, I could have actually quite easily have bought a size down, which would give me an even more waist reduction, I think, or control with this belt. So a slight tip, maybe consider getting the garment one size smaller. But what I did like about it, even under a fairly tight fitting dress, as shown in the previous video, another clip going in here, that dress is quite tight, but you cannot see the garment itself because the legs and the material is very, very thin. So I think this is absolutely fantastic value. I think it's around about between 17 and 20 UK pounds, I think is what I paid for it. Delivery was pretty good. As I say, there's a little bit more information in the description down below should you wish to have a look at it. But in summary, I think this is a damn good investment, and I shall be wearing this far more often, particularly in the warmer summers. So I hope you found that of interest as well. Please drop a comment down below. I'll be very interested to hear what you have to say, and any solutions or any products that you think do exactly the same job, because I think we're all here to help each other to find those great little bargain products that do what they're supposed to do, or even better, something that's cheap and cheerful and can just make us feel so good. And I like these, I really do. Have I said that enough times? Yeah, I think I have. So, in summary, very good, very cheap, very competitively priced. So thank you very, very much, as always, for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, please do consider subscribing and hitting that share button. It would be much appreciated. So until the next time, please stay safe, stay gorgeous, and bye-bye.